Do you think in-universe minions right now would serve Trump, Netanyahu, or something? Nah, Putin. For sure, Putin. Putin is, like, very Groot-coded in a lot of ways. I just, to me, that's just, like, a pure, aesthetic association right there. And it's good. And it's good. What about Xi? Nah. Xi Jinping, by virtue of being interested in nation building, is objectively less evil than the other people listed here. He's the only guy of Trump, Netanyahu, Putin, and Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping is the only one interested in having, like, a functioning China a century from now. That's crazy. Well, he did still do a genocide, but nobody's perfect. Yeah, but if you think about it, Trump and Netanyahu are both trying to do, like, an actual genocide, and Putin's definitely doing a genocide-y shit with, like, Ukrainian kids or whatever. But the cultural genocide of the Uyghur Muslims is one step below on the moral. Listen, I'm not trying to do oppression Olympics. I'm only saying that, you know, unlike with the Palestinians, the Uyghur Muslims have not been subjected to, like, a world war volume of bombing, to my knowledge. She's strongest soldier? Yeah. Too bad, bitches. Didn't China fail to follow through with that on some level due to international pressure? Kind of. They did a lot of really bad stuff, hyper-surveillance, racist policing, re-education camps, so on. But they dialed it down over time, I think, in large part because it wasn't really a good investment, and it was drawing a lot of negative press, and it just didn't really seem like worth it in the long run, I guess. I mean, we've done that, right? We did a whole bunch of Islamophobic shit after 9/11, like the FBI trying to pin cases on people, or like fucking entrapping, you know, middle school student Muslims or whatever. Hey, kid, don't you want to build a bomb? And we leaned off it a little bit, not necessarily because the FBI got less Islamophobic, but I guess they just other things they wanted to focus on, you know? Still, that shit definitely happened in Xinjiang. Yeah, it's not great because it worked and was mostly completed. I mean, it worked in the sense that it tamped down on probably some of the more like militant resistance and independence-minded people in the Xinjiang province. Yeah, hype died down, vibes were off. The vibes were super off on the Uyghur Muslim genocide. Yeah, for sure. Vibes were way off on that one. Would you do a foreign trip to China if the opportunity presents? I've always wanted to go to China. Yeah, for sure. Seems like there's a lot of cool stuff happening there. Kind of curious. I've always wondered where, like, the other half, you know, how they're doing, what they're up to. It's curious. I mean, it's not really like a PR thing or anything. And I can be your guide. Yeah. I'm curious what you'd say about it. I think that, like, to a large extent, I would probably be upset going there because it would be frustrating to see that it is possible to build infrastructure and we just choose not to. Like, it would really suck to be in a big town square and I'd be like, you know, oh, when was this place built? And they were like, yeah, we built it like 3 years ago or something. And be like, okay, fuck. We don't even build new cities in America anymore. We don't. We genuinely don't. We've stopped, like, the traditional way of building a new city, which is like you have a like loggers go out there or a trading post for miners or something, and then the railroad connects to it, and then people start building some houses nearby for convenience. Then you blink 100 years go by and it's a big thriving town. We don't really do that anymore, you know? Yeah, and their bridges also collapse after 5 years. I don't think that's true. I'm sure that, like, on average, the quality of Chinese infrastructure varies massively. It's a big country, but I think that, like, they build their stuff, you know? Also, we're not really in a position to criticize them for collapsing infrastructure, you know? It's getting rough over here. Actual unsubstantiated stereotype. It's partially substantiated. I know that there have been systematic issues with the quality of some producers of Chinese steel and concrete that have led to internal scandals and so on, you know? I guess, like, the reason we're not seeing that over here is simply because we don't make anything. So we don't even get the opportunity to fuck up making anything, right? The only new construction in the United States is like overpriced residential McMansions or whatever. It's like suburban development, you know? We're not out here building like new bridges, new massive infrastructure. So fuck, maybe if we did, we would also run into a bunch of problems with steel quality and concrete quality or whatever. But as long as we're not building anything, it's kind of a, you know, Schrodinger's cat. Who knows? What the hell? Subs and Soda, my understanding was that that bridge collapse specifically that you're referring to wasn't because of the quality of the bridge. It was because aggressive expansion and construction drove them to build a bridge in an area that was geotechnically unsuitable for a bridge. Isn't that what happened? It wasn't that the bridge itself was bad. It was that they shouldn't have built it there, which is kind of different, right? I mean, that's, if anything, that's like aggressive overexpansion. But that's just one example of many, many, many. Okay, well, I'm not going to do a point-by-point debunking of whatever, because you're lucky the first example that you cited to prove your point is one I'm familiar with and had a counter-argument for, but maybe the next one I won't know about, and then I'll have to go on Wikipedia. No, thank you. No, thank you. Wikipedia, honestly. Grok, does China know how to build bridges? Maybe. Bridges are supposed to adapt to the conditions, so it's a quality issue? Not necessarily. There are some places where you just can't build a bridge, you know? Sometimes it is what it is. You just can't, you know? Make it more rigid. Make it heavier so it doesn't move around, and more rigid so it doesn't wiggle. One source of delight for me in terms of solving this kind of engineering problem is that over here in Seattle, I sit right next to two of the world's largest floating bridges, which are exactly what they sound like. Let me, can I get like big images? Thank you. They span Lake Washington, and they literally just sit on big like floating bubbles of concrete. Like they're floating. They're not attached to the bottom. You could dive down and swim under it. There's nothing connecting it to the bottom. And the reason they can't connect it to the bottom is because Lake Washington is super deep, and the sediment down there is not very agreeable. Like they would have to build like 800-foot tall pillars. You know? Not really doable. Look how big it is. There's Seattle. Fuck that, we have to make it more rigid. It's not very rigid. How does that float? Sorry, how does that work? It literally just floats. It just floats. There's no... There are concrete, like, buoys filled with air, and they just float. What about boats? Boats have to cross at the edges here, where they connect higher up. They're building a train line across this one right here, actually. This is an older photo. They're connecting the light rail here. It's going to connect Seattle and Bellevue. They've been meaning to open it for years. Oh, I know, just a normal duck. I know. First stage of annexing? God willing. God willing. Look at that, huh? What a beaut. Love that infrastructure. One of the reasons they're able to do this, of course, is because it's a lake, so there's not a bunch of turbulence in the water. If there was a bunch of turbulence, a floating bridge would not be doable. Seattle might be the only city building actual infrastructure. Actually, Seattle is one of the few American cities that's putting real effort into it right now. How high above the water does it float? Does the bridge get wet? You can see right here. If you got out of the car and you walked over to the edge, you're probably like 10 to maybe 20 feet above the water. But the bridge doesn't get wet, no, because again, it's just a lake, so the wind never makes waves high enough for it to really be an issue. Even on very stormy, choppy days, I haven't seen it. They do close the bridge during storms, though. I have never seen the bridge, the 90, closed during a storm. Maybe like really bad ones, but I've driven across in pretty bad weather. So I'm sure there are some weather conditions where they would have to close it. That milk jug femboy meme, but it's a boy holding up a bridge. That's good. That'd be like a good drawing if there are any artists who want to work on that. Somebody please fucking help me. And it's like 50 giant concrete bubble femboys in a row, all holding up the 90. I just wish it wasn't a toll that cost like $7 to get across. That's the northern bridge. We're looking at the southern bridge right now. The 90, the one that doesn't have a toll. But yes, I agree. The fact that the northern bridge has a toll is very unfortunate. Do you guys not have tornadoes in Washington? Not really. I'm sure it's happened once or twice, but no, not really. What happens if you can't pay the toll? Toll bridges don't stop you anymore, at least not usually. You drive through, and a license plate reader reads your license plate, and then they send the bill to the address associated with the plates in the car. And then if you don't pay it in 30 days, they kill you. Toll roads are good for society? No. This one's pretty bad, I think. Hold on, I can just show you. I was thinking, like, can I get a photo of that from above? But I literally can just go to maps, you know? These are the two. See, Lake Washington is skinny, north-south, and this is the 90, and this is free, and this is the one they're building the light rail on, and it connects to Mercer Island, which is this chunk right here, and then over here to Bellevue. And then there's this one, the Northern Bridge, the 520, which is a toll road. And they've been building this recently. They've been extending it. It's this whole like loop over here, this really complicated network, and they've actually done a really good job pedestrianizing a lot of this. These are old satellite photos. It's a lot greener now. It looks pretty good, to be honest. Like biking around here, it looks pretty good. And you pass over Foster Island, which is pretty cool to look at, and then you Yeah, it's all toll road and go over here. But this shouldn't be a toll road. It just shouldn't be. It's the only way to get over to Bellevue, unless, like, you live anywhere over here. You have to drive all the way down here, then go over here, then go all the way up. Just not... It shouldn't be a toll road. Shouldn't be a toll road. But if it wasn't a toll road, it wouldn't have gotten built, so... What's the name of that off-ramp that is a sharp curve that people wreck on often? Oh, that is the I-5 South Union exit, which should be... It's one of these. It's one of these. 6th Avenue, James, Cherry Street, Columbia, Marion, Madison, Spring. Where is it? Union. Here we go. This one right here. Where this yellow line, see this yellow line where my mouse is? Can you see it? Okay. Here's the exit. Dark tunnel. Dark tunnel. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Red light. There's a light right here. That's the one where a lot of people skip, or they skid out. Why are there so many lanes? It's the 5. It's one of the biggest highways in America, you know? This road kills the white man. White man has been here, and it's like a native guy touching a smoking car wreck on I-5 and Union. Well, anyway. Doesn't that exit also have like 17 signs telling you to slow down before the exit? It has 2. Look, I've never spun out there, okay? However, it is a badly designed exit, you know? I think that you have to be an idiot to spin out there. However, most people are idiots some of the time. So you want to, like, idiot-proof roads as much as you can. You get me. You get me.